Hello, my fantasy friends. I'm the Raging Redhead Cam Stewart from HotRoster today. Week 7 is in the books, and now we're past the halfway point of the fantasy season. Only 6 weeks remain before the playoffs begin, so every matchup going forward is going to be important. Luckily, I'm here to help you guys and gals out, and I'm starting with my quarterback preview for Week 8. Sometimes things aren't always what they appear to be. Looks can be deceiving, especially when looking at Andrew Luck's date with the Chiefs this week. You might not love it, but if you do a little digging, you can see why Luck could be in for a huge day. Over the past month, the Chiefs' D have been shredded by elite quarterbacks. For instance, Big Ben hung 300 yards and 5 touchdowns on these guys. And more recently, Drew Brees, he threw for 367 yards and 3 touchdowns. I'd expect a quarterback of Luck's stature to do more of the same, not to mention the game is taking place on Indy's turf, and Luck has been much more efficient at home this year. His passer rating is 20 points higher at home. So don't be fooled by the matchup. I'm riding Luck in fantasy and on any HotRoster card this week. Another matchup I really love is Jameis Winston at home versus the Raiders this week. The kid from Florida State had himself a day this weekend, but it was against the 49ers. Winston was on target, completing 21 of 30 passes for 269 yards and 3 TDs. He now faces an Oakland pass D that allows over 300 yards passing a game to quarterbacks. Plus Winston, he has 3 games with 20-plus fantasy points and 6 starts. I'd expect Sunday to be another big one. Plus, Tampa loves to throw the ball. Winston has thrown at least 30 times in every one of his starts. I'd be shocked if Dirk Cutter didn't get his boy to do more of the same. I'd look for Winston on your wire if you need a stream at quarterback this week, and check him out on any HotRoster card. I'm expecting a huge game from the kid. Another defense that has been struggling against the pass this year is the Carolina Panthers. Should I say Pussycats? This team was once feared by the rest of the league, but it seems the loss of Josh Norman and a few others has had a big impact on their ability to defend. And this week things shouldn't get any easier as Carolina welcomes the Cardinals into town. Now, I know Carson Palmer hasn't been the best since coming back from his concussion, but old Palmer looked good. Despite his hammy injury from the week before, he was pretty good. Plus, the Panthers' D has allowed nearly 400 yards passing per game over their last 3. They've also allowed 9 touchdowns to only 2 interceptions in that stretch. So yeah, I like Palmer, especially given the right matchup on HotRoster. One quarterback that I'll be looking to avoid this week on HotRoster is Phillip Rivers. Yes, the man can sling it all over the field. I mean, Rivers has thrown 5 300-yard games and 6 starts this season, but the only time he threw for less was against the Denver Broncos, the same team he faces this week, which is why I don't like him in this matchup. Denver held Rivers to only 178 yards and just 1 score, something they've done to quarterbacks all season long. They allow the least amount of passing yards per game at 175, so avoid Rivers at all costs this week. There's no doubt you may have to start him in fantasy, but that's the beauty of HotRoster. You don't need to play him. I'm going to avoid him on any card this week. Another stud so far this season has been Tom Brady. Hey, this guy's a stud all the time. In only 3 starts, he's thrown for over 1,000 yards, 8 touchdowns and no interceptions. Oh yeah, and his passer rating, a ridiculous 132.6. But I don't think he'll continue that. You know why? 3 words: Rex Ryan defense. The Buffalo Bills have been one of the best against the pass all season long. Plus, one of the best games this year came against the Patriots when they shut them out 16-0 Week 4 in Buffalo. Now, that came without Brady in the lineup, I know. You wouldn't expect him to be shut out, but the Bills really did their homework last time out. They even went as far as watching Julian Edelman tape from when he played college at Kent State. Yes, Rex, he's that crazy. And I bet you he's going to come up with a scheme for Brady that's going to limit his big-time playability. That's why I'm actually avoiding Brady on HotRoster this week. Lastly, another matchup to avoid in Week 8 is Cowboys rookie Dak Prescott facing off against the Philadelphia Eagles. With Tony Romo reportedly out, Dak Prescott is expected to get the nod, and it couldn't be against a tougher opponent. The Eagles are coming off a huge win against the Vikings, thanks in large part to their defense. Philly allows on average only 200 yards passing per game, and if you remove the 3 touchdowns from Matt Stafford in Week 5, the Eagles have only allowed 3 scores passing through 5 games. That's amazing. That's concerning for a young quarterback like Prescott. However, if he can get it done against the Eagles, it might be what wins him the job in Dallas moving forward. But I think he actually cracks under the pressure and the relentless attack by the Eagles D. I'm actually going to sit Prescott this week and pressing down against the kid on any HotRoster card. And that's it for today, my friends. Make sure to join us tomorrow when we dig into the running back situations for Week 8. And for those of you who don't know what HotRoster is, Go to HotRoster.com and check it out. Download the app, give it a try. It's like no other fantasy game you've played. And then for help in winning the game, check out the Hot Roster Show with me and Gary and Thorne every weekday at 4:30 Eastern, only on the Fantasy Sports Network. For Hot Roster Now, I'm Cam Stewart. I'll see you on the virtual gridiron.